We're live. We're here. What an exciting night we had last night. Oh, my, it's been one of those mornings, guys, because it's been hectic. We've been prepping for the business show behind the scenes, getting everything ready for the new ChatBox. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But of course, let's start with the really great stuff. Firstly, I'm joined by Nick Luby in the virtual studio. Good morning, Nick.
Hello, my friend. What a night indeed. I don't know if it was anything like where you were, mate, but here it was a bit loud and the drinks were flowing. And I apologize now to any of my neighbors who aren't into the football, but we were watching it.
Yeah, it was a super night. We've got some guests joining us on the show very shortly. We'll talk more about them, but we've already had one in the backstage. We were chatting before we went live, and he said, I was a bit worried about coming on this morning. My throat's not quite up to it. I was shouting and screaming at the telly. But good news is he does have his voice, and we will have some great conversation. But what a great night. It was seat of the edge, edge of the seat stuff. Fly by your pants in my case. I was sitting there like, absolutely glued. And I'm not a huge football fan. I love it. I'm certainly supporting getting behind England and the nation and, being part of something great. And I understand the rules and all of that. So don't worry. Don't start tweeting and putting in your comments about, come on, David. But, for me, I relate so much back to business as well. But let's take the glory first. 2-1 win. We're off to the finals on Sunday, 8 o'clock. We might have to do a special breakfast show on Monday morning to talk more about it.
Yeah, I can just see what that'd be look like. Like most workplaces on Monday morning, it might not be the most vibrant show in the world. It'll be a jolly one, but it might not be as energetic as we'd like it to be. Great game. I tell you what, I thoroughly enjoyed the pace of the game. And I thought at some point England might concede a goal, and then I was very interested. How do they react after that? And I guess a lot of people were saying, "Oh my God, first goal conceded in this tournament. Will they fall apart?" And clearly they didn't fall apart. And Denmark were giving them a bit of a drubbing for a while. But yeah, absolutely delighted. Right? Absolutely delighted. A bit like business, right? It doesn't always go to plan. Sometimes you fall behind, and then it's up to you how you react, to that environment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But there's so much you can relate from sport, not just the football, but we're obviously talking about football. Relate it into kind of the business world as well. The leadership and management skills behind. Lots of us can remember back to when Gareth Southgate missed that penalty, and then we saw him on, some adverts delivering pizzas and stuff like that. I mean, look where he's come from until where he is now. Don't get me wrong, where he was, an international football player playing for England. But at that point, I think he was pretty, I don't know, was he one of the most hated men in the country? Maybe, beyond that. Because people, go with the flow, don't they? When things are going really well, they're there and they're backing you and they're 100% behind you. But when things don't go so well, you start to realise who your friends are, because they disappear. And, business is a bit like that. When things are going really well, the team are glued together. Everyone's on the same course. Everyone is focused, devoted. When things are not going so well, people jump ship. They start looking at other options and alternatives. And there is similarities. We could talk about the tennis, Wimbledon. Roger Federer is out. How old was he, Nick? 40, I think you said?
He's 40 next month, mate. And there is big question marks. Will we ever see Roger Federer back at Wimbledon? And his kind of commentary is, well, I'm 40 next month. At that age, anything can happen. 40 is not old unless you're, on the top of your game in the sports arena. I don't know what sport you can compete in world-class level old. Yeah. Other than like bowls and stuff like that. Are there sports where it doesn't matter if you're 40, 50, 60, you can still kind of compete at that kind of level? I'd be interested to know from our audience. I'm not sure if I'll be able to see comments from the audience. I've lost my mouse, mate. We tend to have a few tech issues along the way, right? And I'm thinking, right, as soon as we go live, I'll share it here, share it there, and my mouse is gone.
Yeah,
it's blooming gone. And now I've got pop-ups coming up on my screen, and I'm a bit concerned they're going to invade my space. So just ignore me. I'm going to be. I'll talk, but I'm going to be blooming useless as far as operating the tech is concerned.
Yeah. So look, here it is. We're going to put it up there. Football coming home. Yeah, we can get like, we've got to go this way, haven't I? There we go. That's almost worth a picture. We'll get a quick screenshot of that, shall we, Nick? There we go. A live picture. So yeah, football coming home. It's going to be great. Sunday, obviously the finals. I am sure 99.9% of the UK population and beyond will be tuning in to watch the outcome of that great match. It's going to be great fun, and we've got
we could do a brief show at half time, couldn't we?
Yes, because people are really going to join us rather than going to the beer fridge, aren't they, Nick?
Well, we could do it right. A live show, half time. It's only 15 minutes, right? 5 minutes of those you can spend with us. We'll have a conversation. I'll be going to the beer fridge as well. It sounds like a great idea. Don't know where I'm going to be yet, watching the game. But we'll talk about it.
Yeah, go. Glennis has put, it's not the age, it's the mileage. Oh, it's a good one, Glennis. The mileage that's on the clock. Walking football could be one of those. If you're a football fan, you can upgrade, sidestep into walking football as you get a little bit older. Good morning, Hannah. Welcome. Thanks for joining us on the live show this morning. Of course, like Hannah and Glennis, if you want us to do a shout out, pop something in the box. You want to talk about the football, tell us what you think. Pop it in the chat box. You can watch this on LinkedIn Live. You could be watching it on Facebook Live, or you might be joining us on the YouTube channel, or possibly even Twitter, because we are streaming to Twitter as well. So you can pop your comments into the chat box. We pick them up. We share them with the world. We'll say hello, we'll say good morning, and we'll see how things go. But Nick, what's happened? What's happened to the background? It's gone purple. It's gone purple and orange.
We've gone purple. ChatBox is here. So excited, mate. So excited. We are evolving. We're evolving. Those of you who've watched the show a lot, you'll be wondering, where's the yellow gone? Where's the uni branding gone? Well, here we are. We're back, and we are ChatBox Productions. How's it feel, mate?
It feels good. It's been in the making for a number of months, and we're still not quite over the finish line yet. We've still got a few tweaks and upgrades to make, but we decided, we said this before, but uni's great. It's a fantastic platform where we work with entrepreneurs and enterprises. But what we wanted to do, we wanted to make the business show a bit more kind of grandeur and fun. We wanted to share with the world, and not just businesses. You might work within an organization, you've got stories to tell, secrets to share, information to bring to the table, and we wanted to rebrand it. So ChatBox Productions is our new business that sits behind everything, and we'll be doing lots more shows live and virtual as well in the future. So look out for the ChatBox Productions as it does its tours, not just around the country but around the world, because this is the new look, the new feel. And Nick and I will be certainly doing lots of great stuff with ChatBox Productions as the clock ticks. So look out for the branding, and we'll be on a screen near you somewhere, I'm sure. James,
bring it on.
Just going back a little bit, does age matter when playing snooker? Possibly. I just think maybe suppleness, maybe able to stretch and reach around the table might be quite key.
It's one of those things. If you're good at snooker, and you a bit like darts, really. If you're pretty good at darts, doesn't matter. Age probably doesn't matter. It's not one of those sports you need to be uber fit for, I guess. Yeah, I'm interested. Not that Roger Federer's watching now, thinking, darts, snooker, walking football. He's weighing up his options. Yeah. Hello, Roger. If you're watching, probably are. Yeah, hi.
Yeah, I'm sure he's tuned in, sitting there commiserating and watching Dave and Nick on ChatBox this morning.
He's probably heard about this M&M world record, mate. That as I probably bigged it up a bit, but I'm very excited to hear the big news, or just an update, maybe. What's going on with this M&M world record of ours?
Yeah, let me just sort of give you a bit of background around that. So last week, last week we talked about the M&M Guinness World Record, and we showed the short video. And the world record for stacking chocolate M&Ms on top of each other is a grand 5. Yes, you heard it, 5 M&Ms. So the challenge was that I would get some M&Ms and start stacking them. Now, bear in mind, I am in lockdown. I am not allowed out until Sunday. So great, I'm allowed out on Sunday for the finals. But I can't get out of the front door, go shopping or anything, because I'm in isolation, because I've come back from a amber country. So I'm sitting here between the four walls, banging my head against them, literally. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to do this M&M challenge. But can I get chocolate M&Ms delivered to my door by Tesco's? No, or other superstores do exist. So I'm going to be honest, my wife ordered some M&Ms. It's never going to work. She went in for the salted caramel ones because she likes them better and thought they'd do the same job, but they're like egg shape. They're like the peanut ones. You can't stack them. I mean, you'd be lucky if you can get one standing up, let alone two. So next week, I will go out. I promise I will buy a bag of chocolate M&Ms and I will get stacking to see if I can smash the world record. There we go.
Smash the world record, which was 4, and then recently broke. It was smashed to 5. I'm just fascinated, mate. I want to see some video of you kind of trying to stack these things. I don't know why our show's become an M&M thing. Just to see how difficult it is. I'm excited. Viable excuse with the salted caramel peanut shaped ones. But yeah, next week, mate. Next week, not only will we have an amazing game of football to talk about next week, but we'll also have a world record under our belts. No doubt. If Roger Federer is going to tune in again, he wants to see this world record smashed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So a couple of other things before we start to line up and get our guests on the show this morning. Super excited for them joining us. Hannah Mayo has popped into the box. She's from the Business Growth Hub about peer networking. So Peer Network's a fully funded program for Essex business leaders. So if you're in Essex, your ears should be pricking up at this particular time. If you're passionate about business and want to think about strategy with other business leaders, then grab this free support. And the link is in the chat there as well. So click on that, find out more about it. But it's, yeah, absolutely. There's free resources available to you if you want to find out more about them. Go to the website that's in there, but you can get 11 hours, I think, or 18 hours of support with an additional 3.5 hours one-to-one support on top of that. So lots of workshops, masterclasses, business classes, etc. And there's all the information. So reach out to Hannah, find her on LinkedIn, and have a conversation with her. You never know, it might transition and change your business forever.
I tell you what, I wish that kind of support was available when I started my business. It would have been awesome. The sorts of things that you learn along the way. You know that idea, you know, on the shoulders of giants we stand. It'd be great to have people who've been there and done it and know what they're doing, know what they're talking about. Saves you a load of heartache. Great, free as well. Amazing, mate. Amazing. So yeah, check out Hannah and explore what resources are there to make the boat go faster. Brilliant stuff.
Ben Hunt Davis, make the boat go faster. Another superb athlete.
Let's get him on the show, man. Let's get him on the show and ask how he made the boat go faster.
Yeah, we need to reach out to Ben Hunt Davis and we'll get him on the show and find out about how he turned his success, gold medal winner, into a business called How Does It Make the Boat Go Faster? And there's also a book about it as well. You can learn about his story. He's a really great guy. I've spent some time on stage with him a few times and done some interviews with him. We have to try and get him on the show and he can tell us more about it in person. So there's a guest we're going to line up for the future. Okay, Nick.
We'll get him stacking M&Ms, mate. Then we'll see how fast this boat goes. There's
a sport, you see. You're asking for a sport where you do not need, to be young. You could be older. M&M stacking, tiddlywinks. There's lots of little games that you can play. Anyway, look, we're diversing and we're talking about things that are important. But our first guest is sitting backstage, waiting and ready to come on. We've tried to get this individual on here a few times in the past, but through no fault of our own, Nick, he didn't make it. But we've got him here. He is here with us today.
He's in demand, man. He's in demand.
Absolutely, he's absolutely in demand. So let's get our first guest on. Please welcome to the stage, Zach Fortag. Good morning, Zach, and welcome.
Morning, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's
great to finally be on. A few times, things where I've not been able to make it, but yeah, really, really glad to finally be on the show.
Yeah, great for getting here, Zach. We got you here at the end after an exciting night, and I can even hear that your voice is a little bit husky this morning. Obviously, you've been screaming and shouting for England. Let's talk about the football. How did you find it? I take it you did watch it.
Yeah, I'm someone who, apart from basically my life in running a business and doing that sort of stuff, is basically all about football. And, I've been watching for about 11, 12 years. Probably a lot less than most people are watching. But you know, it was an incredible night. I've seen a lot of my club team, so yeah, to finally see something with England is really special. I couldn't get a ticket for the game last night, but I've managed about 4 weeks ago to sort of gamble and hope that England gets to the final. So I managed to get tickets for this Sunday. So really, yeah, really looking forward to that. Didn't get to sleep till about 3-4 last night. So
Zach, you say you've got tickets.
sorry.
You say you've got tickets. I'm allowed out on Sunday. I'm not isolating as of Sunday. So did you get, a couple for Nick and I as well?
No, I got 2 for my brother, so they couldn't be happy if I gave them away.
Damn, you got to ask these things. You got to ask. Anyway, look, Zach, we've tried to get you on here a few times, and for no fault of anybody, unfortunately, it hasn't been possible. We've got you here now, so we're going to make the most of the time. Now, I met you. I can't remember exactly how many years ago, but I'm going to say about 4 or 5 years ago. And you're still young now. And in fact, how old are you? Come on, share.
Turned 20.
Yeah. So you were young at the time. I think you were about 15.
Yeah, about 15, 16, yeah.
Yeah. And you come along as a guest speaker to talk about your business that you'd been running through via school. Mm-hmm. And that's where we first met and we started talking. And obviously we stayed in contact thereafter. But tell us about your business journey, starting out from school, how it's transitioned, because it's also, since I've spoken to you back then, it's moved on in lots of leaps and bounds and different directions. So just give us a little bit of background about Zach and the journey to date.
So yeah, I sort of was quite an entrepreneurial type character at a young age. In school around 13, 14, I'd done the traditional things, selling sweets, but I also done things like selling FIFA coins, which was actually really lucrative in school because you had loads of people that wanted to buy coins and you basically had nowhere trustworthy to go. And then towards like the sort of 14, 15 year age, I was really finding school very tedious and boring. So I started to, really work on sort of personal development, which sort of started it all, which was, going to the gym really early, reading business books. And I read Alan Sugar's book, which was basically about him, buying wholesale goods and selling it, starting off. So I thought, why not research it? And I went on Google and I found a resale site where I spent £500 of my own personal money and basically bought about 100 toilet rolls, 50 hand sanitizers, batteries, which actually would have probably been perfect about a year ago. I had about 100 hand sanitizers just in my car, and I basically spent, my time then selling it door to door, selling it in boot sales, and it was kind of smart because I made a small bit of money, but I learned a lot of lessons about budgeting, being confident, selling, hard work, because I would wake up at 3-4 a.m. and go do a boot sale on a Saturday, which was it was a bit interesting because you'd get people that would buy a pack of batteries for £1, and then they'd come to you about 5 minutes later screaming that they found it for 80p somewhere next year. And then, I had people buying 20 bottles of Fairy Liquid off me. It was just crazy because I was 15 and just selling there on my own. So it was a bit crazy. And I got my brother to help me with the door-to-door sales. We said it was for a school project, which got a bit more money in. And then I transitioned into a company called Ahead of Time Clothing, which is basically a motivational clothing brand, which helped, connect young people with fashion and business. I ran that for a few years. We helped around 50 to 60 young people get involved in fashion and business, employment and skills. We sold into over 15 countries and worked with places like Boys Base and ASOS. After that, I ran an events company where I ran that for 3 years. I sold my share in that in December 2019, which is probably the best ever, considering the time. I must have been like a really good psychic then. And that was basically helping people from all across the world have travelled to England. So I ran that for 3 years. We ended up scaling it up to about 10 to 12 different employees with 2 partners where I sold that in December 19 because I wanted to do different work and more impact work. During that time as well, I've done a lot of consultancy work and helped a lot of young people grow businesses, as well as doing a lot of work with charities and media stuff. I've done a lot of work with News, Forbes LBC. In January 20, I started a organisation called the Head of Time Academy, which is basically all about helping young people learn skills and get chances that they wouldn't get in the education system. So learning things like financial education, CV help, pathways. Since we launched in May. Obviously, we did have some issues because of COVID because we were going to be an event company, and we've helped around 9,000 young people since May, so over a year. as well as working with about 300 schools and youth clubs combined. And we're working on two massive nationwide projects, which have both been commissioned by the BBC. But sort of that's kind of that all that stuff is kind of behind the scenes. It's been a stressful year working on those projects. But yeah, I think it will be great. Hopefully, when they come off this again, come on the show and talk in more detail about those specific projects. But yeah, that's basically a bit about me.
What a journey!
I'm also involved.
What a journey, Zach.
Yeah, I'm also involved. I'm
losing a bit of your audio as you explain this journey. We'll come back to that in a second. But I'm getting this image of a young Del boy, right? Who's said, yeah, I can do that. I'll put that in the boot of my car. I'll have that sold by the weekend. And last week, I don't know if you were tuned in, but we had Johnny Twos on last week, and he made the distinction between school and education. And he similarly, he wasn't a big fan of school, but he was a fan of education and educates himself continually. Hence, similar to you, reading business books, and kind of acquiring all the knowledge that you need to take your business forward. Very cool. And at such a young age, I understand you, doing some work during the break before school. That's motivated, man. You've got to really have a passion for business to do that.
Yeah, no, I did, and especially when I was during school, it was really hard because I would do stuff before school, I would do stuff after school, I'd even do stuff during school, and by the time I was sort of in the last year of school, they used to sort of let me off to go to meetings. I remember like one day I was an hour in geography, and then the next hour I was on the way to meeting ASOS in London. So it was an interesting time, but I managed to balance it. And then once I left, I knew I could sort of focus 100% on what I wanted to achieve in sort of business and the youth side of things.
Love it. I love it. I love that idea that said, right, I can't be in your lesson tomorrow, sir, because I got some time with Alan Sugar. Me and Alan are going to go and mix it up in town. There's this second, David. You started your businesses early. Were you at it at school? Were you kind of bunking off school so you can close some deals? What's going on?
Yeah, no, I was really good at school. I never actually skived off school. I was quite clever. I got in with the teachers and stuff like that, and friended the teachers, and then kind of got dragged out of lessons to do important special projects. That's what they told me anyway. And that really worked well for me. But yeah, I was doing some trading. Unfortunately, it wasn't FIFA coins. It was cigarettes and stuff like that. It was a bit of black market trading. It went a long way. You could demand good money for it at the time. But a bit like Zach, when I left school and I set up my first business at 17, I did exactly the same. I bought in products, IT products. So this is when you used to build computers yourself and stuff like that. And we used to sell it at car boot sales. So we used to go along and sell the product there. It was a great way of building up a customer base, meeting people, obviously bringing some extra cash income into the business. But we took it one step further. At the time, it was my girlfriend that come with me. And, she didn't know anything about IT. It wasn't really kind of the thing to know about. So we set up balloon sales and we did helium balloons because all these children were coming to boot sales. And you put a helium balloon there, and I know I've got a 4-year-old now. They go, Daddy, I want one of them. And at £1.50 a balloon, don't take long to make some good profit. But I mean, we're talking like back in the, what was it, 1994, 95, somewhere around that sort of time. So, Zach, were you born in 94? You weren't even born, was you? You wasn't even a glimmer at that point. So Zach, what's next? What does the future hold? So you've got this academy now. What do you see, further on down the street? You're so young, you're so passionate, and got so much energy. What do you see the future looking like for you in the not too distant future?
Well, yeah, as I said, we're working on 2 major projects. One of the projects I can talk about because it is quite early stages, so it's nothing advanced. We're trying to build our own college, which is a sort of a big aim, but we've got some really good people behind us in this project. It's going to be a new college for 16 to 18-year-olds in London.
Okay.
So yeah, that's obviously a really big aim. The other youth project is something I sort of can't really discuss, but it's massive and it's sort of very far advanced, which is why I don't want to sort of jinx things. And also, you know, I'm involved in 2 new startups, which we're hoping to scale massively in the next 3 years. So that's something that I'm spending a lot of time on. So really, creating massive nationwide, you know, youth projects, and you know, growing these startup businesses with the founders. So that's my main aim for the next 3 to 5 years.
That's exciting stuff, man. You know, if you speak to, I bet if you speak to a load of the guys you went to school with and say what you're up to, not many of them are going to say, well, I'm starting a new college. I'm working with a couple of startups. I've been featured on the BBC, Forbes, The Guardian. You know, when I was 20, right, my list would be empty. What have you done, Nick? I said, well, I've done nothing. I've done nothing. You know, I can't remember, mate, what I'd been doing when I was 20. Clearly, it wasn't memorable enough. I don't know. My mum watches this show. Mum, throw into the chat. What was I doing at 20? Because I can't remember. Hi, Mum, by the way. Thanks for watching every show so far. It's great. So talk about that. How supportive are your family, Zach? Are they right behind you, going, "Wow, you're blowing me away, man. What else are you going to do? How can I help?"
Yeah, no, very very supportive. My dad is a entrepreneur as well. He's been in sort of property since he was like sort of 22, 23 as well. And my mum's actually a teacher, which is funny because of how I sort of got on with school. But yeah, both very supportive, and sort of helped with a lot of different aspects of my growth over the last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, brilliant. Zach, before we let you go, and thank you for coming on the show, if you could give a top tip over your experience that you've gained over the last several years to maybe a new startup that's bootstrapping, looking for investment, just looking for a game plan, what would that one single piece of advice that you'd give to them be?
I would say working smart and hard is key, because you can work very hard, but if you don't work in the right areas, it's not going to be as effective. That's sort of that's the most I've sort of learned is the harder you work in certain areas, the more you'll get back. You might say, oh, I want to leave work or finish an hour earlier, but if you actually put in that extra hour, a lot will come out of it. So that's key. But obviously, there's loads of different aspects of businesses. Having a proper plan, the growth side of things, the marketing side of things. So we could talk about that all day. But yeah, that would be my main tip.
Yeah, brilliant. Zach Fortag, it's been a pleasure to finally get you on the show. We must catch up again very soon. Love to learn more about the academy and the exciting startups that you've got coming to fruition very soon, and everything else that's happening in the world of Zach. Do keep in touch, Zach. It'd be great to get you back. Once again, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Cheers, Zach.
Guys.
Off to a quick ad break, and when we're back, Nick and I are going to be deciphering a little bit more about the football before we're joined by our next guest. See you in a minute. Wow, great. Get Zach on here finally and hear that story. Worth the wait.
Awesome, mate. Also, I want to know what this other project. We're getting back and find out what this other top secret project is. I can just imagine, right, in his house years ago, his dad's going, "Oh yeah, awesome business, mate. You're going to take over the world," and his dad, the entrepreneur, is right behind him. Yeah, get a load of more stuff in your boot and get it sold. And his mum, the teacher's going, "Yeah, but don't forget about your exams and do this." I bet the rows they've had in that house. Said, "No, forget the exams, son. You go out there, you wheeler dealer. No, education's really important." I bet that would be a great fly on the wall documentary back then. But he's absolutely right. Working smart and hard. I think one of the things I learned in business, it's hard work. Right? If you're serious about it, you've really got to put in some hard work. But if you work smarter, then at least you get to sleep and eat. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Jan Brooks, good morning. You've popped into the Facebook chat. Think you were still at uni at 20.
That's my mum.
That's your mum. Morning, Jan.
Hello, mum.
Nick, you were still at uni at 20. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's very true. I was. No wonder I can't remember.
Years ago. What were you studying at uni, Nick? What was?
I was studying philosophy with literature. At Sussex University. Hello, Sussex University. If you're watching down in Brighton, anyone in Brighton watching? What a lovely city that is. I had a great time at uni. I've been back since and spoken at some events there. Very, very cool city. Had a great time. I learned a lot about life, a bit about philosophy, a bit about literature, but quite a lot about life.
Yeah, the University of Life. That's what they say university is good for. It teaches you how to mix a pot noodle and put beans on toast. Of course, there's lots of other great things that come from it. Working from home is still a big part of pretty much everybody's life. I know lots of people are returning, and with the day that's approaching very, very soon, Freedom Day, we're probably lots of us are going to possibly start heading back to the workplace. If Alan Sugar's got anything to do with it, you will be coming back to the workplace. He is supporting people going back, working in the city, etc. But let's not get too much into that. But what I have found, and these are great, I'm going to cut these up and I'm going to start dishing these out. So if you want one, okay, put your comments in the chat box. But here they are. It's the work from home merit badges. Yeah, if I kind of duck out to the side here, I'm going to leave on the screen. So conference call survival, distraction avoidance, coffee, foraging, absolutely, pajama knot tying, communication skills, emergency meal preparation, shelter building, inbox navigation, and animal trapping. Yeah, if you've got a cat or a dog, we quite often see that. They're great. So if you want one of my badges, reach out. They're not mine, actually, but if you want one, we're going to chop them up and we will send you one electronically. You can use it on your social media or pop it somewhere that's going to, showcase to the world that you're still working from home and supporting the work from home crowd.
That's shifted, mate. That the fact that we've it's acceptable to work from home. I think that shifted forever the attitude to the workplace. We've got to know, and I was talking to one of our future guests yesterday about this. We've got to know people in a more intimate way because we've seen them at home, and as we've seen on the news, kids have come in the background and you hear noise and pets are crawling all over the blooming laptop. We've seen another side of people at work that's a more human side, right? You don't see that in the office, in the boardroom, and I like it. It's one of the positives that we were a bit more relaxed about how we do our business, which is great because for too many years people were so far up their own backsides that it just wasn't an authentic environment. So now authenticity is back.
The real world. Be brave. As we've heard that comment a few times, be brave. The world forward is going to be very, very different, and embrace it. Nick, I think we've got probably one of our furthest viewers. Tim Price Walker, good morning. Enjoying the show from New Zealand.
Hello,
good morning.
Tim.
Is it good morning or good evening there, I think, isn't it?
Tim, I know Tim from old. Brilliant guy. We should get Tim on the show. Right? He's got a great story to tell. Hello, Tim. Hope you and the family are very well. I remember his brave decision to move to New Zealand. If memory serves, I think his wife is from New Zealand. We'll have to get him on the show. And so how was that transition? The show is definitely gone global. It was always the intention, but there's a lot of global activity. Let's get a global show, mate. Let's get people from the four corners of the earth on the show at the same time. And let's cross time zones.
And Tim's put, I'd love to be on the show and hope all is well and he's all good there. Okay, we're going to get our next guest ready to come on the show. This gentleman, we'll need an introduction because some of you may have come across him, some of you won't, but he's an award-winning business owner, built a business up to a substantial turnover with a great team around him, and then things took a bit of a change. We're going to be learning more about our next guest, Mr. David Bancroft, after this ad break. See you in a sec. And here we are. We're joined with Mr. David Bancroft. Good morning, David, from Tech 23.
Morning, guys.
Great to have you on the show. Oh, look, another husky voice there. Obviously a football fan, looking at the back of the wall there, seeing that T-shirt signed up there. 1966 World Cup, is that there? I think I can just
Absolutely, Dave. Yeah.
How did you find it last night? Were you on the edge of your seat? Were you screaming? Were you shouting? Was the beer flying in the air? What is it like for you as an avid fan?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, Dave, all of the above. I was confident going into the game. It feels like this could be the year, obviously being played predominantly at Wembley for England. And yeah, I was confident. Even actually when they scored the free kick half an hour in, I felt reasonably confident. We have, great attacking options. We've got a tight defence. We didn't concede an open play. It's a set piece. So yeah, I was still excited. And as the game went on, yeah, the tempo, obviously building, and that's where the voice has gone, I think.
I think a smart move going forward, right? If you're watching the football in a fan zone or in a pub, right, we'll have a round of beers and we'll have a round of cups of water, please. And then if you can coordinate when the goals go in, you just throw the water in the air. When did that become a thing, right? You see it all around. The goal goes in, the beer's gone everywhere. I don't know if that has always been the case.
I don't want to spoil it, though. I don't know if you know this, but it's not water or beer. I'm just saying, 45 minutes when you've had a few beers is a long time when you're in the stadium.
Sure, don't say that. Poor old Zach's going to go to the game, He'd need to take a bloody brolly. Deary me.
Anyway.
Unbelievable getting a ticket as well for the game. I'm envious of Zach there.
Yeah, do you remember we can lure him to sell them or something like that? I imagine he could auction those probably between now and Sunday. And being the entrepreneur, business-minded spirit person he is, he could probably get a fair few pounds on his investment there.
Absolutely.
So, David, let's talk a little bit more about your business. The football is so exciting, but we are here to talk about business and share some top tips and how your journey kind of unfolded. And your business, which you kind of kicked off many moons ago, because we first met at the Essex Business Awards back in. We were trying to put the bits of the jigsaw together, and we think it was around 2013, 2014.
That's right.
And you won a couple of awards. One was Businessman of the Year for Essex, or for the county-wide, and the other one was a team award. Tell us a little bit more about those, and then we're kind of steer into what your business does today.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the time, we were ambitious as a business to win some awards. I felt that we spent a lot of time on the phone and face-to-face with customers and clients of ours, talking about how we can add value, about how we're a company that they should be working with. But we identified the Business Awards as an opportunity for an independent and impartial body, if you like, judges who were credible in their own fields to praise the company, come in, see what we're all about. And yeah, we were successful in winning Best Business to Business provider in Essex. We won the Growing Company of the Year, again, in the Essex County-wide Awards. I think both of those were in 2013, which, as you mentioned, I think is when we first met. And I followed it up the year after with winning Businessman of the Year for Essex, which again was a great privilege, real honour. It's not something that I would have ever put myself in for. Actually, I was approached by the award panel, and they said, "Look, Dave, business did really well last year. You're at the helm. Would you consider putting in an application for this?" And I'm glad I did, because it was a great process. Met some brilliant people that I'm still now in touch with, and wouldn't have changed it. We also won, I think in 2015, the Mayor's Award for Business Excellence. And it was, those awards that were able to then almost precede us when we were speaking to new customers, new clients, and you become a multi-award winning company. I think that's got to be a positive thing, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm looking forward to ChatBox being a multi-award winning show.
Absolutely.
And then look out, world. That's phenomenal, mate. Just a list of awards. Think, well, we're clearly doing something right, and the business is growing. going great guns. But as the England football team have known in the past, sometimes things take an alternative direction because you're working somewhere else now.
Yeah, absolutely. So we traded successfully for I think 11 years. We really disrupted a space, became incredibly successful as an agency. We work in recruitment, and specifically at that point, recruitment for SAP skills, which is IT software for both contract and perm. We were turning over good amounts of money, positive amounts, £11 million. We had a headcount in Essex, 25, pretty stable. But yeah, it wasn't to be, unfortunately. After running the business well for a number of years, we hit some real obstacles. We lost some key personnel. We were affected by some legislative change within the HMRC, which some of your listeners may have heard of, IR35, which actually eradicated 70% of our revenues in a quarter. And then we were faced with the COVID pandemic, which ultimately, I think was something we couldn't navigate past. And so, yeah, really disappointing. My darkest and most difficult time in business, but I've come out of that now, working with a small startup and providing, again, specialized IT recruitment, and specifically now for permanent skills, focusing most regularly in Essex and London. And yeah, it's great to be back on the tools. And it's probably the thing that I miss most about growing a business, actually, and a big learn from me was moving away from the front line. I love speaking to people. I love networking. I enjoy engaging with our customers and with the candidates, the job seekers. And it's something that sadly I completely missed when growing something of scale. So now in a smaller startup scenario, I'm loving being back, engaging with the people, and learning about their aspirations, their ambitions, and putting them together with some pretty successful companies.
Yeah, and it just to prove it to everybody how networking can work. And I'm not necessarily talking networking groups and stuff like that. They're great as well, and I totally endorse being part of various networking groups. But David and I caught up last week. We had a chat, and I said, "Look, David, we've got a gap on the show this week due to someone not being able to make it today. Would you like to come on?" And bear in mind, we'd had a few messages backwards and forward in LinkedIn over the years since we previously met back in 2014 time, and we got chatting away about this and about that, and you're telling me the story. And then a few days later, I was working with one of my other clients who's also been on the show in the past, Dom Tyler, if you're watching, good morning. And I was talking to Dom, and then I was like, ching, two and two together. Dom is looking for a new software developer for his business. David is obviously, doing the recruitment. I got you two introduced. Yesterday, you had I think it was a Zoom call. You caught up. Yeah. And you found there's loads of synergies, not just in the recruitment opportunity, but lots of other partnership opportunities.
Absolutely.
And would that have happened? And I'm just going to ask the question here. In your old business, would that same principle applied, or would it have been you would have passed it across maybe to one of your sales representatives who would have probably done that call? And would the outcome have been the same? Possibly not. I don't know. How would that have worked in the past for you?
Yeah, and you're right, and it's a learn, and it's probably a mistake from me in that respect. I would have passed it across to people that are tasked with selling, with converting any inbound opportunities, referrals, or anything of that kind, and then resourcing it. And again, it's something that I probably wish I hadn't done in the past, because I can hold good conversations, I can add value. To the discussion. I bring massive experience in the recruitment sector, and yeah, it wouldn't have happened. Similarly, though, Dave, in fairness, we were quite insular as a company back then. So I'm not saying we wouldn't have taken a referral, but actually networking and playing nicely with others wasn't really for us necessarily. We were probably a mission of our own, and anyone outside of that might have been seen as competition in some perverse way. So that's something that I've learnt. I think Zach was speaking a moment ago about reading business books, and likewise yourselves. I'm not a reader, but I do enjoy podcasts. So tech enabling me to, take on a great deal through podcasts. And yeah, it just really opens up your eyes to opportunities that can present themselves if you do, in fact, open your networks a little bit and think of something more than just your own immediate mission. But yeah, in answer to your question, Dave, I would have passed it over in the past, and I'm glad now that I don't, because I enjoy that part of the role.
The future, though, as we all know, is the future is about conversation. You know, and sometimes those conversations are one way. There's the podcast conversations, you know, you're not participating in, but you're soaking it all up. Or there's conversations like this. The technology has enabled plenty of opportunities to have conversations. Not that most people do. Most people just have transactional kind of relationships via their tech. But we don't, right? We want more human. So we bring the conversations. But I can totally get it. So you started kind of business in direct sales, driven, ambitious, targets. And then when you run a business, you're given a whole host of other tasks that aren't necessarily kind of your thing. You know, and I think a lot of managers around the country are promoted to a position of management, but management isn't really in their blood, and a lot of them never get trained in management. They just got to a particular point within the organization and say, "Well, you're going to get promoted to a manager," but it's not for everybody. You know, these other skills that we either have to or we pick up along the way aren't for everybody. It's not the right fit.
No, I totally agree, Nick. And you know, we see progression, and it's something that probably most job seekers speak about. You know, what are their key motivators for moving, and progression is often one of the top one or two. But you know, sometimes it's without a compass necessarily. They want to progress, but they maybe don't necessarily know why they want to progress, or even what's waiting for them when they do progress. And you know, I've seen throughout my career time and time again people that have in fact climbed a ladder, only then to decide, you know what, I'm not so sure I like it here anyhow, and they'll often go back to what they've been most successful at and done very well over many years in pursuit of progress that ultimately didn't fulfill them. So you know, I love working with our clients. I love working with our candidates. I enjoy that engagement. I now enjoy actively networking, you know, as you've mentioned, and I wouldn't change it now. But it's taken, you know, it's taken time and significant effort to recover from what was a significant business disappointment for me, obviously.
Yeah, I think, you know, we talk about, you know, failure, and I think failure is the wrong word. And I know in a lot of the books they, you know, talk about failure. It's a lesson. You know, we learn from things that don't always go to plan. Some things are not in our control. Okay, we should be prepared and ready. But, you know, there's been a lot of turbulence over, you know, the last 18 months for lots of businesses. You know, let's be honest, we've got Brexit fueled by, you know, a global pandemic. And, you know, all these things are coming together. We're in a perfect storm. I wonder what people out there are thinking. If you are, put it in the chat box. You know, let's hear your comments and questions. But I think we are in this perfect storm at the moment. And the good news is we're sailing in the right direction. But there's going to be a few more ripples. There's going to be a few more waves to crash through. There's going to be a few more ships that sink. And there's going to be a few more businesses that thrive. And there's going to be a lot more businesses that are born as well. And I just think when we talk about failure, we should learn from that. And I think, you know, some of the things that you've said, you know, competition for you know, you kind of were very insular, your words, insular. You didn't want to mix with potentially what could be competition, but things have changed. Something obviously made you think differently around that, because I'm such a great believer in partnerships, you know, and you can have two businesses doing the same thing, get them talking, and there's synergies there. They can, if they want to, work together. So what made that change kind of happen for you, where you saw actually there's not a threat there, there's an opportunity there? How did you kind of get it? Obviously, that was when the business transitioned, but what made you really see that differently?
I think, to be honest, Dave, it was in my role as a recruitment partner to my clients. I offer advisory services and speak a lot about recruitment life cycle, maybe what I'm seeing that's working, you know, positively in the market, mistakes that perhaps other companies are making that's inhibiting their recruitment targets and plans. And as I'm speaking to people, it's just almost matter of fact, because I'm in the space. You know, I'm really engaging companies and individuals and directors and business leaders, and it to them very often seems to be it's an unbelievable realization. Dave, I didn't realize that, or wow, if only I'd thought of that before. And in the same way, actually, when I'm having that conversation with them, I realize that, I can tap people's knowledge banks that sit in different environments, different arenas, different verticals, and benefit in the exact same way. So, as things stand, I don't charge for consultancy or advisory, but probably a good portion of my week, maybe 20% of my week, I would say, is spent speaking to people, either learning from them or trying to support them and educate them in a process that I'm now, of course, very comfortable in. So, so that's probably the realization was actually, I've got a lot of knowledge that can be leveraged, and similarly, I can take, massive learning from people that I'm already potentially engaging with. So, that was probably it, Dave.
Makes a lot of sense. I think we run into trouble if we look at the world and see scarcity. I think us business owners, we need to look at the world and see plenty. Right, there's plenty out there. We don't have to worry too much. Partnerships work, sharing works, conversations with competitors works, and it's more fun that way. Right? You don't want to just kind of keep blinkered and say, well, I don't care what anyone else is doing. This is my world. I think it's a lot more enjoyable if you kind of open yourself up to all of the magic opportunities that are out there.
Totally agree, Nick. Absolutely, 100% agree.
Yeah. So, David, what does the future hold? Scaling up, you know how to scale a business to a very successful level. Even though the turnover you were talking about 11 million is still SME size, but it's it's beyond lots of micro to small businesses. So you know how to get there, you know how to do it, you know how to build the relationship, develop the relationships, and move it to that next level. What's next for Tech 23? Do you see that happening again? Do you want to ever get back to kind of there, or is it you're quite happy keeping it much more defined and personalized?
Yeah, I think in fairness, I need to know that we're adding value and that there isn't attrition of opportunity through scaling up. And I think that's something that a lot of businesses and specifically recruitment agencies suffer, is that as their headcounts grow, there's a natural attrition of their own staff. It's a sales environment very often. You're trying to engage your customers. And right now, I know that we're focused at Tech 23 on what we should be doing, which is providing, the best connections between highly skilled talent and exciting companies that are looking to grow. And I know you asked Zach, obviously, what goes into making good business, or what advice would you give? And for me, and probably now more than ever, having been there in the past, I think you have to be doing something that you love. And I'm willing to work hard. And we've seen the memes on social media of The Rock saying, be the hardest worker in the room, and all of that kind of thing, and it makes sense. And I think in business, if you're going to be successful, working hard is a prerequisite, and probably going above and beyond. But for me, you need to make sure that you're doing something that you love. And right now, I'm loving what I'm doing with Tech 23. Growth is possible, but it would have to be that I'm enjoying it. I can see that we're adding value across the entire team, and I'm not willing to compromise on that. For many years, I could have been running, and I think I mentioned to you, Dave, last week, could have been a tuna factory. Frankly, it was an agency, but I've so far detached from day to day. I'm a caretaker in that regard, and that was never what probably I had an aspiration to move the business into. So as long as I'm engaged, as long as I'm loving what I'm doing, then growth is possible. But again, probably in a different format, work from home, hybrid. These are all concepts that perhaps, again, I hadn't embraced in the past as much as I would do now, I would suggest. So yeah, lessons learned. And for Tech 23, we're doing the job well. We're engaging IT, sales, and operational talent. I say again, predominantly London and Essex-based clients. And if we scale, then it will be because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim has popped in there. Agree. We need to recognise the value of failure. and be okay with disruption. We're now in the Industrial Revolution 4.0, which sees constant change. Absolutely, Tim. I call it the digital revolution. I believe we're there as well. Tech is taking over our life and our world, whether you embrace it or you deny it. That's where Nick and I have similarities, but we differ slightly. I embrace tech. I love tech. And Nick is about human interaction. I think there's a place for both, and you've got to get the balance right. A bit like scaling up your business. Let's just to wrap up, David. Let's go back to the football because you're an avid football fan. What would you take away from the football, the similarities that kind of define business? Do you kind of look at football, the leadership that's there through someone like Gareth Southgate and other fantastic managers over time, or in other countries for other teams? Do you take anything away from that and relate it to the business world?
Yeah, I mean, for me, actually, in sales generally, I love engaging sports people. So it's always part of our interview process, actually. Are you sporting? Do you have an interest in sport? And that unveils a competitive side that I think is important in selling, in recruitment, and of course in business. But it's funny. We talked about progression a moment ago. Southgate, whilst he was an international footballer, and you can't suggest that that's not a standard, wasn't a standout player. Internationally, of course, we had the likes of Gascoigne and Shearer for that. But as a manager, back-to-back semi-finals, maybe 3 if you include the Nations League as well in the middle there, is outstanding, and he can go down potentially. With the names, I don't know, Alf Ramsey, Gareth Southgate, why not? He can bring it home. So it's there's lots of parallels. England again have been through the ringer. Expectations have been high in the past and they've fallen short. Did they fail to deliver? Were they beaten by better teams? I think we've been beaten by better teams. I think we've allowed ourselves to be overwhelmed by a situation in the past. But again, it's a learning process. And the refreshing thing, I think, with Southgate at the helm is that he's been there, he's felt the pain, clearly traumatized for the last 25 years or so. And this is... this is an amazing opportunity for him to exercise, those demons. And for the younger players that we have, many of which, of course, weren't alive at that time, they don't care for it. They're just there to do a good job, focus, and get us over the line. And guys, I think we might do it. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to get to Italy, to be honest, on Sunday.
Bring it on. And we're all very excited. Some people are more excited about the halftime live show that David and I will have to talk about. But yeah, it's going to be great. Thank you very much indeed, David. It's been fascinating and very kind of you to share your time, knowledge and experience. And it'd be great to catch up at some point in the future and see how Tech 23 is developing. Absolutely. Thank you very much for your time. Cheers, David.
Appreciate your time. Thank you. Cheers. Bye now.
Well, Nick, we're getting close to the end of the show. A few minutes to go. Hit the hour. Been a great show. Great guests, great conversation. New brand, new look, new feel. Football is coming home. Let's get that banner back up there. Pop your head out the side. Football is coming home. And yes, don't forget to tune in on Sunday, 8 o'clock for that. Probably don't need to remind you that. But more importantly, well, just as important, next Thursday, we're back from 8 o'clock in the morning with another array of great guests joining us on the show. Do follow us. Do keep an eye on what we're up to and what we're doing. If you want to be on the show, let us know in the comments below or reach out and get in touch because we'd love to, invite you on to the show at some point in the future and hear your story, your advice, your guidance, and what inspires you. Nick, just before we do go, Novo Awards. David was talking about the Essex Business Awards. I'm going to do a quick shout out for the Novo Awards because they've extended their deadline. The deadline has been extended, I believe it's until next Friday. So you've got until next Friday. The way you can enter is basically go to novooawards.co.uk. I'll pop that into the chat for everybody now. And you can enter if you've got, you feel there's a reason to enter an awards. Nick, we've entered the Business Breakfast Show, haven't we, in a couple of categories? So the shout out might help us win. I think the world has realised that Nick simply doesn't have any awards under his belt, so we're best enter some, mate, and I can join that awards club.
What a great show, mate. Great guests as always. One thing we didn't mention, all right, it's I love the what day is it today? National Day.
What is it?
I came across Scud Day, right? Scud as in savor the comic, unplug the drama. Right? It's a day where we should all step back, we should relax and enjoy the funnier side of life. And that kind of very resonates with us and the show. Okay, let's just relax. Let's have some great conversations and enjoy the fun that's out there.
Absolutely, yeah. Enjoy life, enjoy fun. Work hard, but play harder. Until next week, next Thursday morning, 8 o'clock from Nick and I. It's thank you very much for joining us. Goodbye, and let's leave it on a high. Come on, England. Sunday at 8. We are going to be the winners. See you next week.
It's coming home, my friend. It's coming home.
It's coming home. Bye-bye.